Hey, so I have been doing a ton of walking, and when I walk, I think a lot. Imagine that. And one of the reasons I like taking a walk first thing in the morning is because it does give me the space to like clear my head and think through so many different kinds of things. I plan my day, I work through ideas in my head. Do you guys do that? Um, I used to do this when I ran, and I don't run as much anymore. I had to cut back on the miles. That goes to like how our metabolism works and all those good things. I won't get into that today, but I've found that walking gives me that therapy, that same kind of, besides all the health benefits, like physical health benefits and blood sugar balancing and all the good things, it gives me that kind of therapy feeling, that burst, right? So the last few days, I've had some trouble focusing. And if you listen to the podcast at all, you know that that's kind of, that's my rando brain. I'll get into these intense periods of focus and then I'll struggle. I've never been medically diagnosed as ADHD. So I don't know how much of my focus issues are ADHD. I'm kind of self-diagnosed, if you will, versus also minnow brain. There's a lot of science behind how our brain changes during this transitional period in life too. And I've done some episodes on that, and I have some other ideas of episodes to do for you. But nonetheless, it doesn't really matter, does it? It doesn't matter what it's coming from. If you struggle with brain focus in the way that I do, you look for ways that you can harness that, clarify, like get more honed in on and focus better, right? And I go through these periods where I do struggle more than other periods. And during those times, like this week, the walks have been extremely beneficial. Whether I do them solo or Roger and I do walks, you know that I have him walking quite a bit more for his health struggles too. But again, I digress. What has been on my mind lately is I'm I'm in this shift from a business perspective. So here's kind of where the personal and the professional are going to merge. Let me give you some context. So I've been making this really big shift business wise. Our business has grown. I say our, my business has grown, but I have a small team of people that help me with this. Some of you may know them because if you've been a client of mine or if you're in our free total wellness group, you have probably met. I have three other women on this team who are phenomenal. I have a success coach who helps with client delivery, if you will, the client journey. And then I have two other teammates who help more on the before people become clients, they help with coordinating all kinds of things with me. Anyway, again, I digress. But I think of us as this is kind of our business. We all work in it together, but so there's why I say we a lot. Anyway, I've been thinking about my business and it's grown and I'm making some shifts in the way that things are happening, and they're all great. They're amazing. And the growth I'm so grateful for, and the shifts that I'm making, their evolutions in the business so that they will help clients, help more women, help them in better ways. And I'm constantly, it's constant improvement, right? We get shit done on this team and in this business. That's part of our mission. But when you're having major shifts in life, right? Whether they're personal shifts or they're professional shifts, that can create some discomfort, if you will. It's good discomfort, but it's discomfort. And it can create a little bit, for me, the way my brain works and the way I need to process things, it can create some chaos in my thinking. And I have to process things in a lot of different ways and really think through kind of the big picture before taking too many steps forward on the smaller scale. And then once I take a few steps forward, I see how that's fitting in and affecting the big picture. So I'm giving you insight into my crazy brain. But all of that to say, on these walks and my walk runs, I can process those thoughts, that thinking a lot more effectively. All right. And part of that processing in part of that processing, I have been thinking about this topic. So here I am getting to it. This topic of like investing in ourselves. And it is not just about money investments. As busy professional women, particularly those of us over 40, over 50, right? We are juggling like tons of responsibilities, careers, family, our health, and the weight of that can feel overwhelming, even when things are going really well. Maybe all of those sort of check marks are those boxes you can check as things are going really well, except for this or except for that. And oftentimes I talk to you when it's like, it's all going really well. I'm successful in all these areas. I'm happy in these areas, except for the menopause weight, right? Whatever it is, wherever the tension is being created by that vast amount of responsibility, it can begin to feel somewhat overwhelming, particularly when you don't clearly see the path and the steps to take on your path for progress. And so many of us grapple with those things, take the weight loss and the health and the self-confidence. And again, especially when we're in this perimenopausal sort of period, menopause period, when our metabolism is working against us, because, and I'll use that as an example just because that's what I talk to you guys about so much, it can really create even more challenge, especially before we decide how to manage it or how to make progress, right? Well, what if I told you, and this is kind of where this thinking comes in, what if I told you that part of reclaiming that chaos around your weight and your health, around professional decisions, around any of these areas, frankly, but let's focus on the weight and the health thing. What if I told you that reclaiming that chaos around the menopause weight, the health, the lack of self-confidence that you're feeling maybe as a result of all that, what if it comes back to how you're willing to invest your time, your effort, and yeah, sure, your money too, right? But and this is what I've been thinking through on these walks in my own self-improvement journey. When I think about the investment piece of that and the value of it, I think about it drastically different than I used to. I really have learned that it's critically important to value myself and my time, like highly prioritize that value. And this realization, while it didn't happen overnight, but this realization has fundamentally changed the way I approach investments in my life, my health, personal life, and in my business too. You guys, now I prioritize spending money on things that save me time, that enhance my quality of life. Let me give you an example. So I used to think about, and this was, I'm going to admit what I feel like is a flaw in my former self, okay? Because it was a little bit of a judgy kind of way that I thought. I used to think that if you hired someone to clean your house, a housekeeper, right? Or a service to clean your house, that you were being wasteful, you were being extravagant, you were being, hoity-toity, however, like I had these kind of judgy thoughts around that. But when I began to really realize the value of investment, I realized that outsourcing that task, cleaning my house, was a way for me to gain valuable time back that I could spend with Roger. I could spend when Jax lived with us, I could spend with him. I could spend doing things that I wanted to do. I could spend exercising, reading, how like in so many different ways. I got time back. It was time that once I started my business, that was valuable time that I could work with clients, give them feedback, improve the processes that I was designing for clients to go through to get their results. And the decision became crystal clear when I realized this. The cost of having someone come in and clean my house transform from a mere expense. It went from being just an expense to an investment. It went from being a cost or a price or something that I thought of as me giving up money. It transformed in my mind from that to being an investment in my well-being, to being an investment in my relationship, an investment in my business. Does that make sense? So it was this mindset shift that really it goes so far beyond, household kinds of chores and cleaning my house. Now, I don't have a live-in housekeeper, you guys. I'm talking about I thought it was an extravagance to have someone come in and clean, once a week, every other week, whatever. And that shift in how I thought about that really has now extended well beyond household chores. It is really a complete mindset shift that I have made. I'll give you another example of what I mean by that, and how great of an impact this mindset shift has made in my life. So, in my business, I used to do every single little thing on my own. Like when I started this business, and I never intended for it to be different. I was, for many, many reasons, and this doesn't relate to this example, and I won't go into all of that, but for many reasons, I wanted to be like a business owner who was what we call a solopreneur. It was just me. I did the marketing, I did all of the mentoring, I did all of the success coaching, I created all of the programs that we have. I created all of the like everything. Okay. I was marketer, accountant, copywriter, creator, owner, brand face, social media manager, everything. And what I have come to realize is that I can invest in things that do not take my time. Like I don't have to be the person to do certain things for this business to make the impact that it makes on women's lives. In fact, I can better impact women's lives by delegating or investing in help with my business. I also can make a bigger, better impact on more people, women specifically, when I invest in my own growth. Because the more I learn, the better I get at being a leader and a mentor, then the more I have to pour into the women who we help, right? And just a perfect example of this is in this last week. In this last month or so, I guess it was, I hired a new mentor for me. I've talked many times on this podcast about how I believe in mentorship, right? And I never expect people to invest in me as a mentor if I am not continuing to invest in mentorship for myself, right? I truly strongly believe in mentorship that much. Well, there are other things too. Like I I have had this great idea, and this kind of goes to the shift that I'm talking about in the business. I've had this great idea for a project that I needed to complete. And it's a little different from projects that we currently work on. And I don't mean to be vague, but I am kind of being vague because I haven't unveiled any of this part of the plan. It's really exciting. I can't wait, to share this with you all. But there's been this project that I wanted to complete, and I haven't gotten a ton done on one part of it just for time. And that sort of goes to what I was talking about at the top of this podcast with being overwhelmed, because I do have these massive plans in place, and part of the chaos that's going on in my mind is plotting out like how I'm going to get it all done, because I'm the kind of person, like, once I get an idea and I process through it, like I jump all in, like I'm balls to the wall with it. Oh, I don't, maybe that's not the way to say this, but I'm like a doer, right? And it's something that I pride myself on and people value about me. I don't like sit around and talk about stuff. I get it done, right? Well, I have recognized in this last month that part of what's holding me back is I'm thinking too much and I'm not doing. And it's not that I'm not doing, it's that there's so much to do, I can't do it all. So all of that to say, rather than struggling with this one piece of this small project that I was talking about, drafting out every bit of the content for it and, working on all the tech pieces that need to get done for it, today, this is why this was also the linchpin, that like hinge, whatever you say. This is what pushed me to record this podcast for you. Literally today, I was like, this is crazy. And it just so happened that something fell into my lap as an opportunity to hire a professional who could help me with some of those like foundational pieces. And it's a person who can deliver extremely high quality work. And so I was like, duh, this is a no-brainer. That decision and that particular piece, I don't mind telling you, I dropped $1,500 like that on it. And some of you might think, oh shit, that's crazy. Like, why would you, or you might even have some kind of my former judgy ideas of like, well, DIY, you can do it better, you can do it yourself and save the money. But here's the thing, that decision to exchange that money for that quality work and that time freed me up even more so to focus on not only moving that project as a whole forward in massive ways, because I'm not tied up with this tech piece and this little minor content piece, and it frees my time up to be able to work with more clients, right? Develop strategies that really matter, to offer other kinds of things like get more podcast episodes done, the free kind of mentorship that I do through this podcast, through free resources, through content that I deliver on social media and in my total wellness group for free. It frees me up to be able to do more of that, right? So it is literally a no-brainer for me to make that exchange. Money for time that I can use in much more powerful, impactful ways than writing these little pieces of content or pulling the triggers on minor tech stuff that I can pay a really high quality professional to do, right? Now, imagine how this applies to your health journey, because I know that's a mindset shift that so many women struggle with in terms of investing the time, the energy, and the money too in your health journey. If you're trying to navigate weight loss, for example, and how to eat healthy for the body that you have now, and truly how to make mindset shifts so you don't self-sabotage, so you don't stay stuck trying this quick fix and that quick fix, you can find yourself feeling really kind of lost and frustrated and overwhelmed, like I talked about, right? But what if you could invest in something that helps you to solve the problem? So you're not trying to like Google search and piece it all together, and you've already done that and know that that doesn't work. You've been there, done that, right? Like, what if you shifted your mindset to accept and realize that if I invest in getting an expert to help me, and listen, this is not a pitch, okay? Because I don't care if it's me that you get to help you or someone else. What I'm talking about is this shift in mindset where you're saying, okay, I'm not going to waste another 6 months or a year trying to figure this out and filter through all the noise and all the misinformation on the internet and figure out, and even if I do find pieces of information that are correct, I don't want to waste another 6 months trying to figure out how to put all the pieces together into the complete puzzle that works for me. Instead of that, what if you got someone to help you with customized nutrition, strategies that will actually work for your over 40 perimenopausal, menopausal body, how to exercise in a way that actually drops fat from your body and inches from your waist, right? Like, wouldn't you just be doing the same thing that I talked about earlier? You're buying a service, and in exchanging that investment, that money for that professionalized expert service, you're reclaiming time, you're reclaiming energy for things that truly matter in your life. Not that your health doesn't matter, but you wouldn't be wasting the time Googling and trying to figure crap out, or going from this fat burning drop that you put under your tongue that doesn't work to the next crappy product that doesn't work, right? You would be spending time on things like nurturing your relationships, fostering your own personal growth. Maybe you have a business that your time could be better spent in growing that business and making an impact in the way that your business does, or in building your career, right? And here's kind of the flip side of that is, sure, there's a cost, right? There's an effort cost when we invest, there's a time cost when we invest, and there's a financial cost when we invest. But consider the cost of not making that mindset shift so that you can invest in those more productive, effective ways. Every day that you hesitate, that you don't invest in yourself, is a day that you stay in that muck, in that, whether it's mind muck, it's that cycle of frustration, it's that self-sabotage. Your health and your happiness are the things, and time, your time, because we don't get endless amounts of time. Those things are priceless. And they're things that you cannot buy back, if that makes sense. They run out, and you can't replenish them in a way. Not at our age. I know when we were 30, we thought that life would never end, but at 55, one of the other realizations that I came to several years ago is this shit runs out. It's not an endless, there's no fountain of youth, right? There is an end date that's out there that we don't know when it is. And many of us seem to forget that, and we resist investing in ourselves. And yes, I mean literally spending money on ourselves, due to these like wrong-headed, ingrained beliefs and and around self-value and the value of time, and what we're exchanging, and what those exchanges are truly worth. When you can shift your perspective to a point where you're investing in yourself in a way, that becomes the pathway to reclaim your life, right? And so by addressing your unique challenges with professional guidance, for example, you're not only accelerating your progress, but you're reinforcing your value. You are improving your health. You are lengthening your life, and you're becoming more of the person who you really know that you can be. You're becoming the person who supports yourself, who cares for yourself in the way that you deserve it, right? So I want you to think of investing in your health and your well-being as not just focusing on losing weight, or even like improving your metabolism. You're making a statement about your worth. And I don't mean like, this is not like, I'm not trying to be, oh, woo woo about this. Like, I genuinely believe this. These shifts are shifts in how you value who you are. You're prioritizing your time, your energy, your mental health. You're telling yourself, and really, it's a message to everyone around you, your boss, your coworkers, family, because sometimes they need the message broadcast to them too. You're telling yourself and all of those people that I deserve to live a brilliant, vibrant, fulfilled, active, healthy life, physically and mentally. And so that's kind of what I have been reflecting on over the last, I don't know, several weeks, really a lot this month. And today when I like pulled the trigger, I was like, what am I doing on hiring that tech and that professional person that I said? It's like, what am I doing? Why am I even hesitating about this? And so I was reflecting on that today, and I want you to reflect on your own journey. Consider areas in your life where you may be, I don't know, holding back from investing in yourself in these ways. Think about like what, and again, this is not a pitch. I want to be clear. I want you to think about this in ways. I'm not asking you to think about, oh, invest in my mentorship, hire me as your mentor. Think about what tasks or what challenges in your life right now are draining your energy, sucking your time. What could you create? This is kind of your little assignment, right, for listening to this episode. What could you delegate to create more space in your life for what you love, for who you love, for yourself? Because again, back to the top, investing is not just about the money. Investing in yourself is about valuing your time and recognizing that your well-being is truly the foundation of your living that fulfilled, joyful life. And so as you explore those options, right? Whether it's through a mentorship with your health, whether it is how to free up more time by, delegating someone to come in and clean your house or maybe do your laundry for you. Remember that every investment you make is a step toward truly you reclaiming your power and creating the life that you absolutely desire. And so are you someone who's ready to embrace that kind of a perspective? Embrace that type of focus on and thoughts around and how you invest in yourself, right? So I would really encourage you to take steps. Think about what I've said today. Instead of thinking about the cost and what you have to give up when you pay for something, think about how you're exchanging money, for example, for time, for happiness, for your quality of life, both physically and mentally. Think about it in terms of an exchange in you being able to give back or give more in ways that you want to your family, to your business, to your job. And really think about how you can embark on that journey with that perspective so that you can unlock all of that opportunity for yourself. The last thing I'll say about this is when I did make this shift in my own life, what I realized was that I got so much more than I gave up. And that even goes to money. When I, for example, realized that by investing in my business monetarily, my business grew and I got back time, like I said, to work with clients and all of those things. But my business also grew and that money came back. The revenue for the business grew. So it's a shift that's very freeing, but it's a shift that allows you to have more. You're not giving up more, you're getting more. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to end there. And I appreciate you guys spending time with me and letting me talk through all of these things with you. I'd really love to hear your take on this episode. And yeah, so thanks for spending time with me this afternoon, and I'll see you right back here next time.